Hello, it's Alena and I will guide you today in this engraving tutorial. We are going to engrave on glass, gypsum, stone and a bit of a metal. And we are going to use my own pattern called San and an engraver by Gulao. Be sure to use the protective glasses and the mask, and also use a towel to get at the dust. First, we need to get sure that we know the pattern well, and that's why we are going to draw it first on paper. Just follow my lines and draw with me. Do it as many times as you need to get acquainted with this particular pattern. These curvy lines could be a challenge, so you can convert them to single curve lines and go from there. When you are just practicing, it's no need to be too precise and exact, but as soon as you start engraving, your lines should be very controlled and crisp and sharp. That's why you'll need to practice this pattern on paper as many times as you need to get this precision of your lines. So here it is, our pattern to be engraved. Okay, let's start with gypsum. It's a very soft material and emits a lot of dust when engraved, so please protect yourself with a mask and glasses. Hold a piece of gypsum comfortably and also grasp your engraver quite firmly, but not too much, so it won't mess with your control of the lines. As gypsum is very soft, you can use the engraver on high speed. It will leave these beautiful lines in gypsum. I recommend not to blow off the dust. Instead, just wipe it off with a finger or with a piece of cloth. Do not rush yourself. Make every line intentional, as you simply cannot correct your mistakes when engraving. Just be sure you know how to move your engraver, where you want your line to go, and just take your time. Of course, mistakes may happen. It's not a big problem if you are doing it for yourself and as a hobby. So just let them be and get experience from them. And of course, do not forget to breathe when you are doing it all. Holding your breath may inflict your lines to be not as steady as they could be. So please just breathe peacefully, evenly, and don't strain yourself. Have fun. I won't recommend tracing the lines again on such a soft material as gypsum, because it's almost impossible to draw the exact same thin lines on it. And it's finished. Let's add some color to gypsum work. Just grab some pencils and draw on gypsum as you would on paper. I should say that pencils blend quite well on gypsum. The next medium is stone. Stones can be quite hard to engrave depending on the nature, so please use only the finest diamond beads that can be bought from Colauto. Do not rush and always try to figure out the best angle of engraving depending on your stone, because it's definitely not a very straight and easy to do. You might need applying a lot more pressure on the stone than when you used this engraver on gypsum, so just do not rush. If you start experiencing any pain at all in your hands and wrists or elbows, please stop and do a break. Also, any kind of engravers produced vibration that is not very healthy for your joint, so please take your time and do breaks. And this is it. Now we have 2 pieces done. Now let's try it on metal. You'd be surprised how easy this engraver works on metal. It's so easy to engrave almost any metal with the proper bit. It doesn't require a lot of pressure to be applied to get those clearly visible lines, but the nature of the metal is such that you could see these lines only at a proper angle. Just take your time, continue to breathe normally, and move on with this pattern. Try to have fun and just try to express yourself through creation. The customizer comes with the set of default beads for engraving, so I encourage you to test all of them on metal, on glass, maybe on stone and on gypsum, because all of them provide different results. I find metal is the best for engraving and the easiest to do so. On metal you can add very fine details, you can add very fine lines, and they will be crisp and visible. So here you can add even more fine lines that you would be able on stone or on gypsum or on glass. And here it is, 3 media are done. Okay, let's do it all the same on glass. I find glass the most challenging for engraving because of its nature. Usually I draw on all the bottles and jars, and you see that sometimes the bit can slip on the surface. Also, glass is very requiring of eye and mouth and nose protection because it emits a lot of very fine dust. So please be very careful and use mask and glasses all the time you engrave. The key point for engraving on glass is to get a very good grasp on it. If you are engraving on a jar that is a very round object, and try to use an engraver on lower speed so it won't slip too much, and only when you get acquainted with your object and the engraver you can use higher speeds and even larger tips and beads for engraver. Just do not rush, continue to breathe and draw your lines purposefully, intentionally, and slowly. As glass is a very hard surface, you can add as many fine details as you would like. But be very careful not to inhale this dust, and do not blow it off, just wipe it with a cloth. And here it is, all finished. I really hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Bye bye.